Hi guys, welcome back to an episode from the VoIP Guys. We've got a bit of a special one for you today. We're here to talk about the subject of unified communications. And that is why I've got Jeff from beroNet sitting next to me instead of Matthias.
Hello.
Hi. So, welcome.
Thank you.
Right, first off, what we're going to do is we're going to introduce the concept of unified communications, the why and what.
Yeah.
So, Jeff.
The why and the what. Well, unified communications is basically unified communications. It takes every single element of communication within an organization and builds it into one system. Now, the benefit of that is just, there's lots of them. Why don't you name off a couple of those?
Well, we've got a few. For example, we could talk about increased productivity, enabling remote working. We could also look at, for example, cost efficiencies, and so on and so on. Okay,
so as a company looking at this, why would they want to go for a unified communication scenario versus what they're currently using?
Well, plenty of reasons. For example, if you were just to take the cost efficiencies, for example, you could look at for all your user base, so your employees, and a lot of employees. I know from my own personal experience. I used to commute to London. It was a 2.5 hour round trip each day without any delays. So that's a good day, and then
it's a bad day.
Yeah, if you've ever been to London, most days aren't good days.
Yeah.
From that point of view, if I had the opportunity to work from my home office, one, I would be a lot less stressed.
Yeah.
I'd be much more productive because of the fact that I'm less stressed and I've had more sleep, for example, and that would then drive my motivation to work.
Family life is happier.
Yeah, work-life balance as well is another one. There's a whole host of reasons why you could do it. And just for you guys who are interested in it, we've actually put a white paper together on what we can look at as to why unified communications is a solution to go for. And here it is. We've got, for example, here the business case for unified communications. And if we just scroll down here quickly, there's a little graphic here that talks about productivity, remote working. One I didn't touch on is collaboration, file sharing, and so on and so on. And then scalability, so growing the solution with your company.
Right. There's one other, the real estate.
Yeah.
So I heard of a company and what they're doing, instead of having a central office where everybody's involved in, they actually hire people from around the world. So not only are they not limited to one time zone for their employees, but then they work from anywhere they choose to work from. Okay. And they come together like twice a year to do team building and stuff like that. But majority of what they're doing is through a UC solution. Okay.
So that's again, we're talking about here not just scalability, but also collaboration.
Yeah.
Because they've got to have a way of communicating with one another across time zones and being productive when doing it.
Yeah.
That's what UC does.
Okay.
Okay. So what we need to do now is take a look at what, for example, our combined solutions can do. Okay. So what we're going to have a look is going to have a quick look at Mobydick, the actual software. And then we'll go into more detail in some future videos. But basically what we've got here is, if we have a quick look at the software client that's from Mobydick, we can see we've got a bit of a dummy company set up here. So we've got a load of users who we simulated to be making calls or their phone be ringing, and whether they're online, offline, so on. So we've got presence management there. So we can see, for example, when all our users are online, available, on a call, and so on. And if, so, for example, I wanted to speak to Charles, but I could see he's on a phone call at the moment, I could just click there, and I go straight into a text chat messaging system, for example. And all my active communications will be listed here. And then I have the ability to check all my normal call logs. And I've got a personal phone book that's specific to my user. And then I have a company phone book. So, for example, if I'm in my home office, I still have access to the mission critical contact information that the company stores on directory service or the CRM system or whatever it may be. Okay, and then I can also access my voicemails. And as I said, we talk about collaboration, file transfers. Sometimes your email client won't allow you to send a certain file because it's too large. This could be an option here, and you also get the notification when it's been received, when the download's completed, and so on and so on. And then I've got my settings that I can adjust. And the other good thing about, for example, unified communications with Mobydick is that it's got an integrated soft phone.
Okay.
So if I am in my home office, I want to contact whoever it may be, and maybe I want to call you. Okay, I can use my company phone book to find your number, and I could dial it directly from my client without needing any expensive hardware on my desk.
That's nice.
Cost savings.
Definitely. One other thing I noticed as we were just going through this is one of the arguments against remote working that I've heard in the past is the productivity. How do you ensure productivity? Well, a system like this, you see all the productivity. You see the phone calls they're making. You see the actions they're taking. See everything that's going on.
I mean, for example, with our MobiDick solution, we've integrated it into our CRM system to the point where, for example, when I make a phone call to a prospect or a partner or whoever it may be, if that number is stored in our CRM system, that call is logged.
Nice.
Okay, so if you're talking about productivity and you want a way to manage it and monitor it, that's one solution there. And from talking about the integration with the CRM, every time I get a call coming in, I get a little notifier and I can click on it and it takes me straight to the contact data so I can see the history with call logs, any emails that have been sent to that customer, support tickets, all that kind of stuff. You can have a look at it and then you know exactly what's happening.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
What did beroNet bring to the party?
beroNet brings the party. beroNet brings the fun to the party.
Okay, fair enough. Good.
So what beroNet does is it takes this software solution and provides the hardware element to it. Okay. So with that said, let's go into the gateway functionality. One of the beroNet's main functions is gateway technology. And what that allows you to do is, let's say if you have a PSTN, ISDN connection, and you have that connection, you have a contract, you're stuck to that connection, and you have to use it. It allows you to take the advantages of expanding your company without expanding your legacy PBX and getting into another contract that then holds even longer. And so what you could then do is put a gateway on that ISDN connection and install the MobiDick solution in-house, allowing you to do that flexibility, expanding without paying for extra lines internally. Okay. And take that advantage of the SIP UC solution while still maintaining the ISDN connection. Another thing we bring to the party is flexibility.
Okay, explain.
Backup, going, well, you always have an option here. You always have a way to make a phone call when you have a gateway installed. Yeah. So let's say if something in the system fails, you're not able to make a SIP call, you have a gateway, you can make the phone call. You've got least cost routing. Okay. So if you make a phone call, let's say to a local number, instead of going through the SIP account, some countries local numbers are free in some places. You can make that local number go through the gateway and not pay per minute. Okay. Then if you were to have a GSM gateway, you could then make a call from a provider to a provider. Okay. Same provider, not paying quite as much.
All right then. So we've talked about how flexible the solution is and so on and so on. But that basically means it will be time to take a look on how to configure everything. But that's going to be next time.
That's going to be next time.
So thanks very much for watching. We'll see you next time. Goodbye.
Take care.
Cheers.